then that means that that bearing isn't good anymore. You really shouldn't use it. Well, you should replace them anyways, but yeah, if that bearing is smooth, then that's good. If there's got any gouges or um, rips in it or anything like that, then it's not going to be good. This one was good, in good condition for the engine, but of course we're going to go ahead and swap that out anyways. Now this is an example of a really bad one. This one really got messed up. Now you notice those two bearings there. Something happened that caused, maybe some metal or debris or something got in there, and it just grinded against the crankshaft and the bearing and just ruined that bearing. And because of those bad bearings, oil pressure was lost, which is obviously not good. So that's why it's really important to have those bearings really clean when you go to install them. This is going to be your crankshaft. This will be the front, and this is the rear back here. These are the main seals right here. The main bearings are or not the main seals. These are the main bearings that are gonna sit with the crankshaft, and then the other ones are where the piston rods are going to attach. Now you need to pay attention to which way you put these bearings in, because they have to go a certain way. You'll have two. You'll have uppers and lowers. Well, at least on this engine. Now the bottom ones are going to have a hole on it. Well, I guess technically the top ones. And the other ones are going to be perfectly smooth. They're not going to have a hole in it or anything like that. So now you'll notice these little oil galleys right here in these holes. Those are for your oil that the oil pump was sent through. So the bearing that has a hole in it is going to go there, and that's one that's going to match with that. You basically just have to match those holes up. Okay, now if you notice this little groove right here, it's called a tang. This part right here, it's kind of hard to see it. And that is actually going to match with the block. You see here, that little tang sits right in there in the block. And then to put these in, you basically just put the tang in and then you press it down with your thumb on the opposite side. You just want to make sure that the tang is in there and that it's perfectly flat. I'll go ahead and show you now what it looks like. Alright, so now we've got our 4 main bearings in place. They've been set in their position. Now this one has 4, maybe yours might have 5. Different engines have different setups. There's now these bearings actually, or washers really, are special. These are what they call your thrust washers. Basically, these are going to sit somewhere in the crankcase, usually by your second or third one. They're usually not on the ends. Basically, you'll have them sit on the outside of the bearings. This basically helps your crankshaft. It pretty much prevents it from having slop from front to the back. It basically keeps it in place so it doesn't wobble back and forth. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think sometimes if you have too much in play, you can actually get a thicker thrust washer to put in there to eliminate some of that in play. Now these are pretty simple to install. We'll take a look at them. Okay, so this side is smooth, it's perfectly flat, and this side has these 3 rings here. Alright, so those, the edge with the grooves on it, those will always point away from the bearing. And the other side will do the same thing. The grooves will always point out. Now normally these thrust washers tend to have only one way that they'll actually fit. So if you noticed, on the edge of that, one had a really thick one and one was kind of longer and skinny on the ends of them. Now if you look at the block, they only go in one way. You can't get them backwards. If I try to put it in this way, it won't fit there, so we'll just try it on the other side, and excuse me, it fit on the other side, fits on this side, but it won't fit on the other side. See, okay, right there it fits, but now if we try to put it on the other side, it's not going to fit. And that just kind of helps you to prevent making a mistake by installing them the wrong way. Pretty much every engine is going to have your 2 thrust washers that pretty much sandwich one of the main seals.